episode number 139.
Hello, you're listening to the Career Changemaker podcast. Having the courage to leave a career that you have worked hard to build and try something else can be tough. So in each episode, we dive into key career change strategies so that you have a clear understanding of what is required to transition into a new role or a new industry without feeling like you have to start at the bottom or have to take a massive pay cut, because ain't nobody got time for that. If you are ready for frank and honest discussions about how to become a career change maker, keep listening. I'm your host, lawyer turned career strategist and executive coach, Janine Esbrand. Hi. Coming on this to talk about why you should stop counting yourself out of opportunities. Why this is even a topic I'm talking about. So I had a coaching call last night with some of my clients, and this came up, and I realized that it comes up time and time again. So when it comes to you considering moving into a different way of working, whether that is a different organization, whether that is a different role, or whether that is a complete different industry, what comes up often is that feeling of not being equipped to move into the role that you want to do. So perhaps you start looking at job specs, perhaps you start having conversations with people, and you're trying to figure out, okay, what is it that is required for the role that I want to move into? And when you look at those things, you start to see what the gaps are. So you start to say, oh, okay, well, I don't have that experience, or I don't have that qualification, or I don't tick all those boxes. And because you see that you don't tick all those boxes, you count yourself out and you say, well, that's not going to be possible for me. I'm not going to be able to move into that role. It's going to be too hard, or I'm going to have to go back to university and study for a couple of years before I can even approach this type of opportunity. If you can resonate with that, if you've looked at things that you have been wanting to do and wanting to pursue, but then you've backed off because you said, oh no, that's not for me. I can't do it. So I want to talk about this because I've had the experience with clients before where they've had a similar viewpoint. So one of my clients in particular that I worked with earlier on this year, she wanted to move into a different industry, and an opportunity came up. She looked at it and she said, I've looked at what they're saying is required, and I don't have all of this stuff. I don't have all of this experience. I haven't been in this industry, so I don't think I'm going to be successful. And I said to her, okay, let's look at it. Let's not just look surface level. Let's look at what it is that they require, and then let's take some time to look at your experience and determine whether or not you do have some of the experience that's on here. Because perhaps as you're thinking about it, you're not able to connect the dots. And that often happens. And so when we did that, when we spent some time with her actually thinking about, okay, what is it that they want and why do they want it given the role? And then looked at her experience and some of the things that she'd done, we were able to find so many examples of transferable experiences and skills that were relevant to the role. So on the first look, when she first looked at it, she felt like, okay, I'm not a good candidate. But when she looked deeper and when she really thought about what she could bring to the table, her perspective shifted. And because her perspective shifted, she was able to put herself forward for the opportunity and she landed the role. So I want to talk to you about why it's important not to count yourself out, because if she had just said to herself, okay, looking at this, it looks like I'm not equipped and I can't do it, and she just decided not to apply, then she wouldn't have landed the opportunity. So I'm not saying that every role that you look at, you're definitely going to be able to do. But what I am saying is do not count yourself out too soon. Take some time to do the necessary due diligence to understand what the role is, what is required, what are the skills, what are the attributes, who makes a good person in that particular role. When I say good person, I just mean who is well suited for that type of position. And then take some time to do an audit of what it is that you've done. Take some time to figure out, well, do I have some things to bring to the table? Because here's the thing, if you are not able to recognize how much value you have brought to your current organization, to your current role, to your current industry, if you can't recognize that, then how are you able to articulate it to someone else? How are you going to articulate it to someone else? So if you don't fully believe that you have value to bring, then it's going to be hard for you to show up in the way that is required for you to convince someone else of that. So instead of spending your time looking at opportunities and counting yourself out, looking at opportunities and just deciding that you're not a good fit, I want you to spend more time thinking about the bridge. How do I build the bridge between where I am now and where I'd need to be in order for me to fill that position? And when you look at the bridge, it's really looking at what are the skills gaps, what are the areas that I need to work on, but also what are the areas that I already have that I can package in a different way. So all of the experience that you've gained, all of the things that you have done, they can be transferable. Just because you've done them in one way in one industry doesn't mean that that's the only place that they are going to be relevant and useful. So you spending time doing that is way more fruitful than you just going through looking at different job specs, looking at different ideas that you have for potential career paths, and then discounting yourself because you feel like you're not a good fit or you feel like you're not going to be able to succeed in that area. It's really, really important that if you're thinking about making a career change, that you aren't just plucking ideas out of the air about what might be a good fit for you, but you're taking some time to go through a process to figure out what would be the right type of role for me. What would be the right type of role for me? And the reason why you want to do that is because before you go forward and you start to articulate how you would be a good fit for a role, before you do that work, because it is work, it does take time for you to do, you want to be sure that this is the type of role that you want to pursue. And this is why we have a whole process within the Career Clarity Academy that help clients to identify whether or not this is the right role for you, so that you're looking at the right role rather than any role. So we go through a process where you identify, well, what do you need? What is required? What is important for you personally in terms of the work that you do, and what would make you feel fulfilled and what would make you feel happy in your role? And then you have a filter. Then you're able to look at opportunities from a place of, okay, I know that this opportunity is going to be a good fit for me because I understand myself so much more. I understand how I work best. I understand what kind of environments I thrive in. So then you're able to look at opportunities and say, well, would this be a good fit from that point of view? Not from the point of view of, am I good enough? Straight away, am I good enough for this role? And then discounting yourself. You want to identify, is this the type of role I even want to go for? And if you get to the place where you're saying, yes, this is what I want to do, then you can start the work and the process to say, okay, well, if this is what I want to do, what can I leverage from my existing experience to position myself as a candidate who is going to be a good fit for this type of opportunity? And how do I take the experience that I've already gained and describe it and articulate the value that I bring in a way that's going to be compelling and attractive to the type of organization or the type of hiring manager that I'm going to be speaking to? Okay, so discounting yourself straight away means that you're going to be missing opportunities, but approaching things in a methodical way, approaching things in a way where you get clarity that this is what you want to do, means that you're able to put a lot more time and energy in positioning yourself for the opportunities that you want. And positioning yourself is so, so important. How are you showing up? How are you presenting yourself? And are you doing it in a way that is going to be attracting the type of opportunities that you want? So that's what I want to encourage you with. There are so many opportunities out there. There are opportunities, but you need to be in a position to position yourself so that you can attract and land those opportunities and not take a passive approach where you're like, okay, well, I'll just see, okay, that's not a good fit for me, move on. Let's do more than that. Let's do better than that. Let's really, really decide that if this is what I want to go for, I'm really, truly going to go for it. When I was speaking to one of my clients last night, she had identified an opportunity and she said, I don't tick all the boxes, but I'm going to apply anyway. So then I said to her, you might not tick all the boxes, but let's look at how can you demonstrate that you are going to be a good candidate for that role? How can you demonstrate that you are going to help that organization to get to where it is they want to go? The whole reason why they put a job posting up, the whole reason why there's a position open is because they need somebody to help them to move towards a particular goal. What is that goal? And how can you use all of the experience that you already have in your career to help them to move towards that goal? When you talk more to that, then focus on the specific bullet points that you feel like you don't meet on the job description. You're going to be way more successful in articulating how you can bring value and how you are the right candidate for the role. Okay, so I hope that is useful for you, for anyone who is considering pursuing something different. You want to transition, you want to pivot in your career. If you are a high achieving woman who is ready to go in with focus, with positivity, and with a plan in terms of making the transition that you want to make, then book a call with me and let's chat about how the Career Clarity Academy might be able to support you in that journey by giving you a clear framework and a step-by-step process for you to follow. Because and you don't want to be showing up in your work feeling disempowered, feeling like you're undervalued, feeling like you should be doing more. You should be doing more impactful work. You should be doing work that's more aligned with you as a person. If you want to be going into the next year knowing that you're taking the steps towards making the transition that you've been wanting to make for a long time, then it's time to do something about it. So don't discount yourself. Don't discount yourself. Just figure out what you need to be doing so that you can position yourself for the opportunities that you want. Okay, so all right, so thanks for joining. Are you eager to get unstuck and figure out what you would actually like to do with your career next? Have you been going around in circles trying to figure it out but getting no further forward? If so, you're going to love today's sponsor, my signature group program, the Career Clarity Academy. Changing career direction can feel overwhelming and daunting, but it doesn't have to be. In my signature program, we give you clear, step-by-step, proven processes for getting completely clear on what it is that you want to do and understanding how you can leverage your existing experience and position yourself to attract and land a dream role. To find out more, head over to lightboxcoaching.com/academy. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Career Changemaker podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, I would love for you to let me know what your biggest takeaway has been. So head over to Instagram, tag me at Career Changemaker, and let me know your thoughts. What did you like most about today's episode? I look forward to hearing from you. Until next time, keep working towards your career goals, and we will speak very, very soon.